a rapid fire success fire hose from Tom Bilyeu. I've got plenty of pages of notes. I love these best of interviews that he compiles and puts together, because he literally does go through every individual, but then when he takes the best about on one topic over multiple, it's incredible the content you get. So Chad, what do you have written down for your notes?
Man, I had a few good things here, and I'm going to rapid fire some of them and dig in just a couple of them. But first of all, for all you guys on here, congratulations on just being on here and on a early Tuesday morning and being on here to learn, because you never know when you're just going to show up and get that one little nugget that's going to actually be that 1% adjustment that you make in your life. And what I've learned over time is just to show up. If you keep showing up, then you get what you need over time. And so he talked about the 5 people. First of all, in the circle, and you guys have probably heard this a lot, but it's so important to know who your 5 people are and understand truly what they're doing to you. If they're pulling you upwards, closer to your goals, if they're pulling you down. And of course, people go through seasons, and, sometimes you're pulling your friend up and sometimes you're pulling your friend down, right? And vice versa. But you just want to be aware, because the truth is, if you're trying to be successful in life and your 5 closest people aren't successful and they're not trying to be successful, then over time, I think it's the law of diminishing intent. You're just gonna be like, yeah, well, being successful is not that important because my 5 friends don't think it's important either. So just be aware of what the people you hang out with do to you. I love when he said people are throwing gold at you and you have to be defenseless. And this is a tough one because it takes a little bit of humble pie, and what you have to do is be open for correction and invite correction, especially in your business. Because if you're putting those walls up, then people won't. They'll see something that they clearly know would be beneficial to you, and they won't even bring it up because they'll believe that you won't receive it like you need to receive it. So be an open book and allow people to pour into you, good, bad, or ugly, because that's going to help you grow the most. And of course, sometimes people will be off and they'll say things that aren't true. But other times people will bring something to you that's going to be beneficial and it's going to help you be a better leader. So be open to all those things. I love when he said, how do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? That's one of the most important things, because mindset is everything. And if you don't love yourself, then how are you going to love other people? And this business, you have to love on other people, and it has to be genuine if you really want to build it. Otherwise, you're just going to spin your wheels. So you have to figure that out. You have to figure out who you are and love who you are, and really just learn how to see yourself through God's eyes. Because I promise, when God looks at you, he's like, yeah, look at what I made right there. That's pretty cool. And so you want to receive that, and then you want to believe it. And then when you look in the mirror, you want to see what God sees when he looks at you. And then everything else will kind of flow out of that, and it'll become a lot easier. Growth mindset, definitely important to have a growth mindset. I love how he said, kick your own butt, but don't beat yourself up. There's a fine line there. There's a healthy, competitive drive, ambition. And then there's if you're constantly beating yourself up, then that's kind of like that. What's that Winnie the Pooh guy? Like, oh, I suck. Why even try? That dude in Winnie the Pooh. So you want to find that health. Everything is, good in moderation, right? So healthy, just healthy kicking your own butt, but don't beat yourself up. Kick it. Not as hard as you can, but some of you and some of us need a good kick from time to time. Get better at pattern interrupting. I think this is so important. Routine leads to stale, right? In anything in life. If you get too much in the routine, you don't see the opportunity around you. You don't see what's trying to get in. You don't see the little nudges, like we could call it the comfort zone, right? So you want to constantly just be open to interrupting your current pattern. And when you get in the shower today, if you usually start with your hair, man, wash your feet first and just see how that feels. You'd be like, whoa, I haven't done that in 27 years, right? So whatever it might be, if you wake up and make your coffee a certain way, just flip it, do something a little different, just to help yourself know that you can. I think Jim Rohn says that you're not a tree. You can change your address anytime you want. A tree can't do that. You don't have to fly south for the winter like the ducks, the birds, the gooses, whatever. So you can literally just wake up and go, today, we're going to do something we've never, ever done. Just try it. If it's been a long time since haven't done something new, then it's about time. to try something new or do something new. Brush your teeth with your other hand. See how that feels. Instead of going like this, go like this. And it's just those little things, and it helps you realize very quickly that you can change it all up if you want to. I mean, we've lived in Tennessee for the last few years, and we came out here to visit friends in Texas, and we're like, maybe we'll move here. So we're looking at houses. Why not, right? Why not if you can do it? Talked about skill acquisition, and especially with It Works. I mean, there's certain skills that if you acquire these skills, then you will get better. One is sales, like closing. Have you realized some people, you go to some conferences and things and you hear people say, yeah, I closed 50%. And you're like, wow, 1 out of 2? How the heck do you do that? Well, they didn't wake up and do that. Maybe we were all kind of like 1 out of 10, maybe, with our natural talent. But as we acquire those skills, we get better, because when they say this, we say this. When they say that, we say this. And we just understand. And there's books and books and books and YouTube videos and thousands of things to get better at that. Being healthy, that's a skill, right? Being healthy just means that you're putting the right things in, and you walk around a little bit extra. You say no occasionally to the really bad stuff, and over time, we're healthy. And when people look at us, and if someone can look at us and go, wow, they look healthy, now we immediately have some clout when we're talking about health. So that's a skill to learn how to be healthy. And that's an important skill with It Works, to understand that. Education, being able to educate people on what we have, and on business, and on being an entrepreneur, and all the things that come along with that. That's a skill. That's something that we have to learn, do and apply. Building teams, when you start bringing people in, and you want to build teams, that's a skill. Like, we're not just born knowing how to build teams. Like, the greatest teams have a good coach, so we learn how to be a good coach. Attraction marketing. I mean, how great is it when you can get people to ask you, hey, man, tell me more. I want to know. I want to know more about your life. Can you help me understand that? And then he mentioned telling stories. So, telling stories is huge. Just give you a couple more here and be done. But I love when he said, it's your fault. All the choices you've made have gotten you to where you, good, bad, or ugly. The choices you've made have gotten you right here in this place. And he says, even if a meteor comes through the sky, that's extreme ownership, right? Most people would say, you make me mad. You made me angry. And I would say 90% of the population would prefer to place blame than to accept responsibility. And extreme ownership says, you know what? My choices have gotten me right here in this place, in this moment where I am. And so what's so freeing about that, when we understand that for the first time, is that if your choices got you to where you are right now, then your new choices can get you anywhere you want to go. Right? Jim Rohn, I think I first heard him say that if you will change, then everything can change for you. Right? It doesn't say if the politics change, if your spouse changes, if your kids would just listen a little better, you wouldn't be angry all the time. No, he says, if you will change, then everything will change for you. So today, maybe just look in the mirror and go, okay, today's the day. Draw my line in the sand. I'm not real happy with where I am. I want to go somewhere new. So I have to become a new person, right? So important. If you just get that today, it changed my life. When that light bulb went off, everything changed, because I said, if I want to do this, then I can change. If I do this, I can change. Here's the last one. A lot of people want to get through the struggle phase. What did he say? He said, the struggle is guaranteed, but success is not. When you're doing good things, John Maxwell would say, all things worthwhile are uphill. It's always easier to walk on the flat ground. You'll get on the treadmill. Tell me I'm wrong. Put it on level 12, it's going up the hill. You'd be burning calories and sweating so much faster. But the struggle is guaranteed, but success is not. So you have to understand that and be real with yourself, because as anybody can go get a job and show up, clock in, clock out, turn your mind off. You're done at 5 o'clock, go on to the next phase or whatever your life. But if you want to live what I would say is the better life, because you can earn more and you can do more, and I think entrepreneurs have the ability to live about 5 to 10 years per year with experiences, and with, because you get outside of that 2 weeks vacation and outside of that limited funds, and you just have way more autonomy, which means you have way more options. That's one of the greatest lures. No one else, I've looked around, no one will pay me $200 an hour as an employee. They should, I'm worth it, but they won't. And you are too. So you just have to figure out how to do that as an entrepreneur. And It Works as a great, great platform to be able to do it. So the struggle is guaranteed. Success is not. And I'll leave it at that, Joel.
Where's my video? There it is. Nope. Boy, we're having all sorts of Zoom problems today. There we go. All right. So I'm going to start with go get extraordinary. Why? Why not? I mean, that was the whole thing, is you're going to go through this life. You're going to live this life. So go get extraordinary. You have the ability to go out and do things and change your life. So why not go do those things? And, Chad mentioned you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around. He said, don't talk about that too much to where all of a sudden it just kind of falls on deaf ears. He goes, what you need to remember is you can hang around better people than yourself and cause yourself to be better. So think of it that way. He goes, and then when you're hanging around people that bring you down, you have to get back to as quick as possible. And, we know about Trevor Mods, it takes the whole thought process of getting back to neutral. So make sure you follow up and read that book, because that will help you learn how to go from being in a positive and negative environment and how to prepare yourself to get back to the good. Talked about how you feel about yourself while you're alone will tell you a lot about where you are going and what you want to accomplish. He goes, the most important thing you can do for yourself is value yourself as a learner. You have to keep telling yourself and other people when they question you is, I'm not good at that yet. See, whenever you first start out on anything, you're never going to be good at it. If you decided all of a sudden you're going to pick up karate or MMA, and it's the first time you're walking in, you're not going to be good at it. But as you go through the repetitions, you will get better at it and better at it. And so you have to remind yourself, today is the day that I am the worst at X, at contacting people, at asking people for host-to-posts, at doing something new. Today is the worst you will ever be at it, and tomorrow you will get better. Never do anything that moves you away from your goal. So many people get this wrong. So are you doing things that move you towards your goal? And also, if you aren't doing something to move you towards your goal, you are automatically sliding backwards. So when you're pushing a rock up a hill and you let go of that rock and do nothing, it rolls back down. So what he's saying is always push towards your goal and don't stop, because if you stop, it rolls back down backwards. But on the flip side of that, don't be actively pushing the rock down the hill. He says you have to pattern disrupt your thoughts. When you have a negative thought, when you do a negative action, when you do something opposite of what you should be doing, quickly stop and change that thought process. He said he has a negative thought, then all of a sudden he starts turning that into a gratitude loop. He says he can sit there and think about the negative thought for 1 second, but then he goes, oh, but because of you, thank you for that negative thought, but because of X, Y, and Z, I'm grateful. So all of a sudden, the negative thought that he had, he used that to turn into a gratitude loop. And I think that is a life-changing thought hack right there. He goes, acquire skills for massive impact. Act and do like you are the greatest is one of the best belief systems you can create for yourself. Because when you start acting and doing, eventually you will become. You may not become the greatest at it, but you will become better. And this goes across all sorts of things. So do you want to be a better husband, wife, spouse, friend, business owner, any of the things? If you start acting and doing and being accountable for that, then all of a sudden those traits will begin to show up in you and through you. Do the things to acquire the skill so that you have a full tool belt. Like you said, so all of a sudden back in 2008, all of the home builders were going out of business because of the fact that the economic crash and the housing market crashed in 2008. Those that weathered through it and those that still had those skills, guess what? I'm pretty sure they started new businesses. And right now, during the housing boom, they are flourishing. So if you acquire the skill, you will always have it readily available when it's ready to use. So you need to be good at the skills. Greatest things for me, and kind of what he said that I loved, is I love watching people's light bulb turn on. That moment, that first time that they get it, and now all of a sudden it sets them onto a path that they never would have had that light switch not turn on. That's one of the greatest things that I love watching, because you know that that person's life has been changed forever. And he said, your growth mindset is the only thing that matters. He said that actually 2 or 3 times when he was talking. And he said, your growth mindset is the only thing that matters, because if you do not have a mindset geared towards growth, you will always stay the same and your life will never be different. Then obviously he got asked the question, what are the 3 books that you would recommend the most? And number 1 is one that I've recommended plenty of times, and it's Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. Number 2 was The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holding. And number 3 is one of my favorites, which is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babbitt. And just great, hands down. Those books are incredible. Get them. They will change your life. Then again, we get to the accountability part. And when he's talking about this, he said he doesn't want to victim shame anybody. That's not the point of what he's saying when he says this. He says, you are never, ever, 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 5 evers, a victim unless you choose to be. Because the second you give away your power to somebody else, you are now at their mercy. So he was talking about extreme ownership, especially like Chad said, you know, if a meteorite comes and crashes into your house, you can go ahead and play the victim of that, or you can just take ownership and say, yes, that happened, but I'm not going to let it affect me and ruin the rest of my life because that happened. The only way that you'll make that happen is if you choose to give that power over to an inanimate object, which is a meteor, an inanimate object, which is the stock market, your job being lost. You know, these are the things that if you hold on to that and you don't play the victim, which a lot of society does, you'll have the power to press through. He said the results of what you want are going to either be what you want or what you don't want. And it all depends on the actions that you take. He says, you can't guarantee the win. This one I had 2 X's because you're in the game right now. You can't guarantee the win because there's other people involved. You're playing against another team, but you can guarantee that you played all out to win, and that will take you somewhere. And then finally, comes down to money. It's not always about money, but if you create value, you will be valued. Guys, thanks for jumping on today. Go out today and create value, add value to somebody else, and you will become more valuable and change lives, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.